Hello friends, welcome to QuestMet. In our last video on tropical cyclones, we introduced a term called the Genesis Potential Index, which is needed for strong low pressure systems to form. The two synoptic scale indices which play a crucial role in governing the genesis, intensification, and movement of any system in the atmosphere are the Madden-Julian oscillation and atmospheric waves. In today's video, we focus on the dynamical aspects of these two as they are known to modulate the weather patterns. Madden-Julian oscillation, or MJO, is the largest intraseasonal variability in the atmosphere that occurs as a result of air-sea coupling. It is seen as an unidirectional wave moving very close to the equator from west to east, covering different regions of the globe and bringing periods of active and suppressed rainfall. When talking about the Madden-Julian oscillation, the phase plot has to find a mention as it provides the location of MJO and its amplitude. The amplitude is a clear signature of how strong the coupling is between the ocean and atmosphere. The phase plot of MJO is generated with the help of data from outgoing long wave radiation and zonal winds at 850 millibar and 200 millibar levels. In a very simple language, the phase plot generation is based on a pair of empirical orthogonal functions of the combined fields of near equatorial zonal winds and outgoing long wave radiation. The first two principal components from the empirical orthogonal functions give the qualitative geographical location of the convective clouds near the equator moving from the west to the east direction. This basically represents the MJO. The correlation between the zonal winds and the outgoing radiation gives the amplitude, which is a representation of the strength of MJO. Now, if you look at a typical phase plot, the inner circle represents that the MJO signal is weak, and anything outside of this inner circle represents a very strong signal, which could be interpreted as a strong coupling between the ocean and atmosphere. Most low pressure systems intensify in the presence of a strong MJO signal, that is, a signal outside of the inner circle. The phase plot also shows a clear west to east movement of MJO, thereby covering different ocean basins. The phase plot is readily available from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, that is NOAA, or Bureau of Australian Meteorology or Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology websites. Next, we talk about the atmospheric waves such as inertial waves, gravity waves, mixed Rossby gravity waves, or convectively coupled Kelvin waves. All these waves aid in the propagation of perturbation from one place to another, thereby triggering strong instabilities in the atmosphere that lay the platform for coupling with the ocean and hence exchange of moisture. The perturbation also aids in deposition of vorticity, which is very crucial for strong systems like cyclones. Therefore, the role of atmospheric waves is very important for genesis and intensification of systems, especially when the MJO amplitude is very weak. The waves can be seen as a source of energy transfer from the equator to the upper latitudes. They transfer energy via a mechanism called as wave dispersion. If a wave is non-dispersive, then the wave movement and the energy transfer are in coherence. However, if a wave is dispersive, then the wave movement and the energy transfer have a phase lag. This is the reason why, even after a wave moves away from a particular location, the energy could still be transferred due to the lag. Sometimes the wave moves west, but the energy is transferred in the eastern direction, indicating a lag of 180 degrees. This dispersion aspect makes waves a very tricky feature, and the dynamics are hard to interpret, even using weather models. There are many different types of waves of varying wavelengths and frequencies. But here we are going to discuss three most important waves that usually find a mention. First is Kelvin wave, which is affected by Earth's rotation and always moves with the coastline or a waveguide such as the equator to the right of the wave. It is a non-dispersive wave. Second is Rossby wave, which is an outcome of the curvature of the Earth, something we call as the beta plane effect. The Rossby wave is a dispersive wave, and depending on the wavelength and frequency, it either moves east to west or west to east. Now, if you take the Rossby wave, there are many different subdivisions. For instance, the equatorial Rossby wave moves very close to the equator and it moves from east to the west direction. Then we have a mixed gravity Rossby wave near the equator, which is additionally affected by the presence of stratification or strong density gradients that are present in the atmosphere. It also moves from east to west. However, the mixed Rossby gravity wave could be differentiated from the equatorial Rossby wave by the presence of twin systems in either hemispheres. The jet stream is also a Rossby wave occurring at mid-latitude, and it moves from west to east. Finally, we have the internal gravity waves, which are only affected by stratification. The internal gravity waves are not specific to the equator and could be seen anywhere in the atmosphere close to the mountains or any complex topography. Irrespective of which wave we are talking about, their primary role is in energy transfer, which could very well intensify a system by triggering a strong instability between the lower and mid levels of the atmosphere. The role of the waves is usually underplayed, even though they are an integral aspect of any system in the atmosphere. Therefore, it is important to understand the dynamics so that we can get a better grip on the weather patterns. We hope you all enjoyed watching this video. Please share it with your friends and family, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon for instant notification and exciting updates. You could also express your views and suggestions in the comment section. Thank you.